All right, guys, what's up? Long time no see. Hopefully, you can hear me. Hopefully, you can see me. Recently, I finished a move, right? A big move. Hopefully, this is the forever house. Maybe, hopefully, that's the last move. And I have to tell you, moving the comic book room was a nightmare. a week, it took a week's worth of effort, evenings, 13-hour days, including my job, the weekends. Um, Extremely difficult, not going to lie, and glad it's over. So we get here, and one of the things we had to find out was, of course, the internet. I'm living out in the country, um, and I'll probably do show the house off once we get it a little bit more situated, if you will. So last week we had, yes, moving sucks. It definitely does. So basically, it had crappy internet. So I actually worked on it on a few things. Got a few special broadband, I don't know, kind of cable. I'm not even sure what it is. So I figure, hey, we took a break Saturday after moving. That's the whole point of like whining about the move and everything like that. Saturday, we just hit a point where we were like, let's get a break. We went out, and I stopped in a flea market. Of all places, of all during the time of October and stuff, which was amazing, and actually got quite a few cool things. So I did a test earlier to test out the new internet to see if I'm gonna be able to stream. It didn't work Friday when I tried to pop in on Cavern of Chaos and Jared Osborne's channel. It's horrible. So this is more or less a test run. All right, I'm doing this on my phone, no microphone, no high def cam or whatever. But anyway, so I figured I'll show what I got here for anybody that's out there that's interested in stuff. Now, here's what's really cool before I show this stuff, right? About 6 o'clock, 6:30, I got on YouTube a little bit. Just going to play around with this. That's when I did my test. And I found out that on today, I think it's what, October 4th. Oh, thanks, man. October 4th, today, apparently all your social media apps went down or something happened with them today. Facebook wasn't working, Instagram wasn't working. What's funny about this is I deactivated my Facebook about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I actually had to pop on last week because I had an email that somebody had changed my password. So I don't know if that was a trick. But I love the idea that all the social media went down, apparently, that has anything to do with Facebook, I guess, and stuff. And I didn't even notice. That is a great feeling. I am so glad to be removed from that stuff because I'm finding out there is so much tedious stuff I really don't give a fuck about that I was all kind of wrapped up in. You know what I mean? I didn't even realize it. So anyway, everybody's had time to see that I'm on if they're going to pop up on this Monday night at 8 o'clock, after 8 o'clock, and we'll just get through the stuff that I found. The first thing I was able to put on Instagram, I do enjoy the Instagram. I can't believe I found this, but it was a wax pack, a wax box of 19 bone cards from 1994, unopened, which I thought was fantastic. On top of that, I was able to get a set of 1 through 90. I don't think there's any special cards in here. Okay. 1 through 90, so I can look at them. And basically, if you read Bone back in the day when it first came out, it took over a decade to get the entire oh, look at this. New password booster gold rules. Thanks, Scott. Now everybody can get on my social media. Brian's out there. We actually had to talk to our friends in person. That's hilarious. But anyway, the trading cards. But this is back in the day from 1994. Bone had really not been around that long, and it took a while for the complete story to be told. I want to say it was like 66 issues, and it was black and white. So the novelty of the cards were they were in color. They took artwork from the comic and put them in color. Now, you also have to remember it took an extremely long time for Bone to complete the story, okay, for all the issues to come out. Like I said, probably, I think, over a decade, going by memory and stuff. But this set of 90 cards probably covers up until the Great Cow Race. So I think this might be the first year of 12 issues of Bone. I think. Not sure. Haven't got to really play around and pay attention and double check that. But anytime I check these out, I find these. Now, the guy that I bought these off of remembered me from a few months ago because I got Crow, the City of Angels, uh, box set wax pack off of them and stuff, right? And he remembered me. And he was asking me if I'd opened those. He was really interested. I thought, in my opinion, of what I had done with that box. So as I'm looking around his booth and stuff, he's got them all. He's got two more unopened wax packs of The Crow, the City of Angels for that movie, and he's got them for $45 a piece now. So who knows? He also said had a set of DC Cosmic cards unopened for $60. I think over the summer I found a whole box of those for $8 if I'd bought them. I had them back in the day, so So let's get to the comics. There was nine issues, and a zero issue, I guess, of this book. And Barry Winslow Smith was on for the first 6 issues plus the zero issue. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was like a Hyborian age Conan monster stuck into the Ultraverse, if you will. He even had a crossover with Silver Surfer and a huge crossover with Conan. That one shot with Conan, I thought would be huge money, huge collectible, if you will, because it was Barry Windsor Smith returning to Conan after 20 years at the time, right? This is back in the 90s and stuff, but it was Rune. I am now one issue away from having the complete run of the volume one run of Rune. Rune's all about a vampire that got hit with like a nuclear bomb back in the 40s or something. He's a very ancient creature who has rune stones that he gets power from. He's the kind of vampire that his mouth dislodges like a snake, and he doesn't just bite your neck; he bites your whole head off. But he got to the point where he could only feed efficiently on people who had ultra powers, superpowers, if you will. Barry Windsor Smith, his art on the first on those 6 issues was fantastic. So yeah, I'm gonna finish out the set. Now I picked this up because it's an upgrade, and issue 29 and 30 of the new Teen Titans deals with Brother Blood, which for some reason every now and then it seems like some of the first appearance and his appearance in the Baxter series, the Titans, seems like they go up and down in value. I think a lot of people speculate that he's going to pop up eventually. But moving on. And then Dark Shadows, Innovation Comics back in the early 90s put out a couple of miniseries of Dark Shadows, right? I was going to show you the first one. I have a couple of these. So this one, I believe, this Dark Shadows is based on the original romance goth soap opera of the 60s and early 70s. Well, this one is based upon the show that they brought back in like 90 or 91 that I don't know a whole lot about. I tried watching it, not my thing, but I was also 17 or 18. Oh, the Simply Incredible podcast is here. What's up, brother? Nice to see you pop in. Just doing a little test run with the new internet in the new house, on the phone. Now there's about, I can't remember if this was 7, 8, 9 issues or whatever it was, but this was a really cool little run of Will Eisner's Spirit done by Kitchen Sink Comics back in the late 90s, I believe. But the first issue had stories by Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore, and Dave Gibbons came on to the art. It's a bunch of short stories by high profile creators at the time, sort of giving an homage. Homage may not be the word, but throwing out stuff about, giving their, let's celebrate what came before. And Will Eisner's Spirit, Will Eisner made up a lot of the rules of storytelling with comics and stuff, right? So anyway, I'm trying to get the whole set of these. I figured why not? But here's number 5 with a complete story by Paul Chadwick, okay, and John Nyberg. Now, Paul Chadwick was hitting high and mighty and hitting stride and getting a bit of a cult following and a lot of praise from readers and his colleagues and stuff like that for Concrete. So I'm expecting a very emotional story here with this one, okay? Like I said, the first issue had stories by Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, and then later on Kurt Busiek came on and a few other people. But yeah, a whole issue dedicated to Will Eisner's Spirit by Paul Chadwick. That should be interesting. I'm going to be getting to the good stuff here in a minute. I'm just flying through here, man. So anyway, I'm really interested in this character now, man. This tongue-in-cheek stuff, the corny names, the satire in comics. This book was a little bit ahead of its time for what it was doing. But basically, I remember this book because the stepdad and the uncle read the original Charlton run, and it was in the house, and I couldn't figure out what was up with this book, why they liked it. It just came up as a silly book. Eventually, it went to First Comics, and it had a second life. But there for a while, it really had a fan. Hey, what's up, Constant Bromstar is here. What's up? Good to see you. But anyway, this book is people who read it liked it. I met Joe Staton, and I didn't really ask him about it. We talked about some other stuff and everything, but it's an issue of E-Man. And what was so funny is that I'm building a little run of this first comics part of it, right? But the chick's name is Nova Kane, and E equals MC square. It's because it deals with Einstein as a relativity. Einstein sort of bookends the book and hosts the book, much like your horror books of the early 70s and the EC comics and stuff, right? So Einstein comes on there and they're writing his hokey accent, and all the characters have names. And right before this issue, there was a run that was making fun of the X-Men, more or less. Dark Phoenix didn't have. So anyway, if you want a little humor and a little smart, if you were around during that time, get out of there. Cat's trying to break down the camera. E-Man might be your thing if you're from there. Now, one of the most underrated artists of I'm being being highly involved in the 80s. But during the 80s in comics, there was always these artists that I always felt like, why aren't they on a regular book? Why aren't they getting more praise? Why aren't they getting the big? I thought they were. You had your Kerry Gambles, Chuck Patton, um, Kerry Gamble, Chuck Patton. I know there's a few more. Tom Grummett, even though I know he did a big run on Superboy and Robin and stuff. But there was a guy named Sean McManus that I discovered, like with Alan Moore's Swamp Thing issue 28. I thought the guy was a fantastic artist. I don't know what his life was outside of comics, what his other artistic ventures were, but I always sort of wondered why he wasn't really on a regular comic more. You know what I mean? So I was really glad to get this. This is also a character that I've never understood why DC has never fully tapped. There's so much potential there. You know what I mean? Like with all these magic characters and stuff. But anyway, Justice League was riding high with Keith Giffen and James DeMontes. Hello, say hello to Shiva, everybody. This is Shiva the Destroyer, our kitten, and she is running roughshod all around here trying to take down the camera. That's right. She's waving at you. All right. So anyway, she's always got to be in the center of attention. Shiva is the perfect name for her. Yeah, there she goes. So anyway, Jaden DeMontes, Keith Giffens, Kevin McGuire, their Justice League was running hot, and there was no doubt that the Spectre was getting a miniseries and a series that was going by Doug Munch. Keith Giffen got in there a little bit with another Doctor Fate miniseries before this. So you had the Spectre and Doctor Fate always kind of getting pulled in there, mostly for the direct market and stuff. Some great artists were on these books, but I always sort of felt like they were trying to go somewhere with some of these more magical themed books and stuff. But Dr. Fate, to me, considering that this blue and gold costume came about during the Golden Age, it seems like it's one of the few characters one of the very few characters that had a timeless look to him. I was reading All Star Squadron when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. Dr. Fate always sort of stood out for me. I always liked that color scheme. And of course, Todd McFarlane, before he was a superstar, came on around, I don't know, what was it, All Star Squadron number 47, 48, where they retold the origin of Dr. Fate. But anyway, this is James DeMontes. He started playing around with some of the gender bending and stuff. I have issues 6 through like 14. So it's kind of cool to have issues 1 through 4. I've kind of been keeping an eye out for them, even though the books aren't worth that much. They're really hard to find in the wild, and when you do find them, it's like nobody bagged their comics back in the day. They were a bunch of savages. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, really cool to get these. And even if the stories get a little too social conscious or maybe there's a lack of action, like I said, when it comes to these magical heroes, I always feel like nobody takes them as far as they can go. You know what I mean? I don't know. But the Sean McManus art, he never fails to entertain me. What do we got here? Just went back and saw the Bone Wax box, man. That's so cool. You're talking about the Crow City of Angels box. I'm so jealous. I've totally, I totally run across some by accident sometimes. Now, here's a series that I'm completely honest about it. A lot of people love this book. I read this book. This is one of the more current Marvel books that I've checked out, and I was not blown away with, but I totally get what people like. And I try to explain to them that the reason that it doesn't blow me away, the reason I don't go out and jump on it and want to talk about it, is because that to me in the 80s, early 90s, I've been collecting and reading comics since 1977 when I was 4. So yeah, I have a bit of a palate of taste, if you will. In my opinion, that might be hard to please. Maybe sometimes I get too critical. Sometimes I forget things can just be for fun with this. But this book to me, if you like this book and it's from Kurt Marvel, and I know it's ending here soon if it hasn't already with issue 50, but this was the standard of storytelling that was in every comic every month back in the throughout the 80s, early 90s, even with some of the horror books and a lot of the stuff in the 70s. But I digress. I could go on and on, man. But it's Immortal Hulk. I think I have at least found now, these books I'm showing you, I bought 24 books for $20. And I did the math and it comes up to like 83 cents a piece. So I'm kind of thinking that I have half the run. Now, I don't have an actual number one, a first print number one. Okay, this is a director's cut. I think they took the first 6 issues of the Immortal Hulk and made director cuts versions of them. But I think I have half the series now, and I don't think I paid $1 for one of them. You know what I mean? I found them, but I'm finding these Immortal Hulks left and right at different flea markets. Okay, within a 3-hour, if you take right where I'm at and do a 3-hour, within a 3-hour drive, I'm finding these. You know what I'm saying? But these Alex Ross covers are fantastic. I totally dig the take on the Hulk that they're doing. The fact of if you've been infected with gamma radiation to a certain extent, you're immortal. That's where it comes from. They took them to some horror roots with what's going on. But these Alex Ross covers, I have no idea if they're going to show up well. They just the Alex Ross stuff covers make it for me if I don't get in there. They're moody. This one feels like something that'd be right out of a Universal Pictures movie. I mean, I just love that stuff, man. But yeah, assortment of it. Check out Absorbing Man. I mean, there's a character that to get Crusher Krill out of that 60s mentality when they made him and stuff. The fantastic idea of having a pair of hands to cover your face, predator like. And I have no doubt that this is inspired by Stranger Things. Don't get me wrong, but they totally did something different with the Abomination, which I thought was cool. Brought back Harpy, the Red Harpy here, which is Betty Banner. I had that Hulk book. There's a lot of throwbacks to the history of the Hulk, which is why I think this works. It actually embraced Hulk's history, and that's where he got some of the stories. Yes, yes. All right, Comic Cracks popped in. Yeah, yeah, very cool on those Immortal Hulk. Never read any, but there's a great stories. The Simply Incredible podcast. Like I just, not to repeat myself, but I've been saying this for over a year since I finally got around to checking out this series. Every book on the stand for Marvel and stuff had this quality of storytelling, even if it was something hokey like Quasar and stuff. You know what I mean? Like this would have been a little bit cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't blow me away because this was the quality of comics for a long time. Comic Crack is in here. What's up, brother? And we got Phil out there. Nice, nice. All right. There we go. But anyway, finishing up those because I got a few keys here to show in a minute. But like I said, these covers are inspired. Really enjoy Alex Ross's covers of anything on these. And they even brought in Zimnu. Zimnu is my favorite monster from Marvel. It's a Jack Kirby creation. And Zimnu, the Titan, his original name was the Hulk. So of course he's going to be in there. And it blows my mind how many people didn't really get introduced to Zimnu the Titan until John Byrne's She-Hulk of the 90s, 89, late 80s, early 90s there. Cracked me up, man. Cracked me up. Look at that. What do we got here? Is that including the quality of writing on Dazzler? Um, yeah, considering Dazzler took on the Galactus. I mean, today, back in our day, we had Dazzler taking on Galactus, and now we have Squirrel Girl beating Galactus. You do the math. You do the math. Okay. Few little minor keys here or whatever, but I was really glad to find these. Now remember, less than $1, about 83 cents a book. A lot I got. So I don't know if these will really blow you away, but I keep, I grab these every time I have them. This has got to be anywhere between my third and fifth copy of All-Star Squadron number 25 here, the first newsstand copy of the first appearance of Infinity Inc. Now, when I was 10 years old, this book just fascinated me, and this blew me away in my 10-year-old imagination. I was like, "This is new. This is now. These are new characters on Earth 2." And I kind of remember looking at the cover and thinking that Jade and Obsidian, before I knew who they were, I'm like, their costumes are a little bit too futuristic for the 40s. I mean, I'm like 10 years old thinking this, and I'm like, Mohawk. I didn't know the word, but I thought it was like pandering. And I'm like, this is during World War II. Nobody looks like that. Come to find out, they had time travel, of course, right? But I enjoy Infinity Incorporated. I'm still working on a full run of that series, that Baxter series. Roy Thomas put a lot of words in there, and Todd McFarlane put a lot of cheats doing a lot of designs. He's actually got an issue where he took a set of dice and he put panels on each side of dice. I mean, I was like, I see what you're doing there, McFarlane. That was just younger days. Anyway, and then these Miracle Man, huge Miracle Man fan, and I was actually nervous. Maybe not nervous isn't the word, but I was very hesitant of Miracle Man Mania hitting the 2000 teens when Marvel announced that they'd gotten the rights, went to court, made everything good with Neil Gaiman and all the fighting over this and stuff. And Marvel started releasing the series again with new covers and new colors and stuff because Miracle Man in the 80s was groundbreaking. And so many people have intentionally or unintentionally made their comics with the violence in this and the themes, the adult tones, sort of stripped the innocence from a lot of comics and stuff. A lot of people blame Watchmen. Uh, Alan Moore was doing a lot of stuff with a lot of heroes. Miracle Man was Marvel Man back in the 50s over in the UK, and an artist named Mike Angelo was just wanting some more Captain Marvel books since Fawcett had quit publishing them because of DC suing Fawcett. So he came up with Marvel Man, Marvel and Marvel Boy, Marvel Man Kid Marvel Man, and all this other stuff. And Alan Moore took it and grabbed it and brought it into the 80s and had everything. Nothing was dismissed. Okay. But anyway, these early Eclipse issues, number 6, I think this might be the one where it was all new material after he had the original stories in Warrior Magazine. I have one of those and stuff. So yeah, I grabbed 2 of these. These are like my second or third copies of these. Love Miracle Man. I can talk all day about it. Really blew me away. And then I couldn't believe I found this for 83 cents. And this might be in better shape than the other 2 I have. Looking at it, there's like some spine breaks. Somebody definitely dropped it down here in the corner and stuff. But there's a little bit of buzz again because of Vigilante being in the Peacemaker HBO show. Thanks to a picture. But this is the first appearance of Vigilante, not first appearance of Adrian Chase, but the actual Vigilante and the new Teen Titans Annual number 2. I think this is like the second, third, fourth one I found in dollar bins. So that's it, man. Anyway, thanks for popping in. Thanks for letting me test this. Looks like everything went good, and everybody have a good night. Be excellent each other, and everybody thanks for popping in. All right. Wow. Eric Breen showed up. Look at that. Eric Breen, what's up, man? Yes, that is some fuzzy math. And Comic Crack, he remembers them. All right. See you later, guys. Be excellent to each other.